Welcome to Spiritual Soul. I am your host, Natalia Kuna. In this episode, I want to share with you why I created this show, what it is about, its intention and higher purpose, and what kinds of topics and episodes you can expect. So, why did I call this podcast Spiritual Soul? Well, there was a bit of a journey with this on its own. But the main reason is because you know you are a spiritual soul. Maybe you are an old soul, an empath, energy sensitive. Maybe you resonate with feeling like you are an angel on earth, or you're just from somewhere else, that you have some kind of spiritual inkling or connection that you know feels true and right for you. So this podcast is for spiritual souls out there on the spiritual path who feel a connection to their soul, even if maybe they've lost it or forgotten it at times or gone off track. Well, that's all pretty normal. But for anyone out there who feels and knows that they are so much more, I recognize you, I hear you, I feel you, and I see you. I am broadcasting for you. I'm going to allow this podcast to be whatever it needs to be organically and allow whatever to come through intuitively and energetically also. Sometimes episodes will be planned and at other times just messages that need to come through or whatever comes through to me intuitively. For I just received an intuitive message right now as I said that a podcast is like a channel in a way, just like a YouTube channel or a channel on TV or a radio. And I am a channel as in a spiritual channel. So higher intuitive messages can come through me as a spiritual channel, and then through the energy and frequency waves from spirit through me, and then into the waves of sound and technology through the actual physical channel or portal of the podcast, and through the power of synchronicity to you. And that's how it works. So welcome and stay tuned as I tune into God, Source, Spirit, the angelic realm, and the greater reverberations of the greater universe and multiverse, and the higher energy that is here for us. And that's what I'm wanting to broadcast through, from a place that is honest, in integrity, and authentic to who I am as a spiritual soul, with the intention for you to feel connected to that and to find a deeper sense of purpose and belonging. So I'm here to help align you back to soul, move you closer to your higher self, and to feel more fully integrated, clear and attuned on your higher path. Let's talk about how this podcast came about. I have wanted to have a podcast for the longest time now. It's just one of my dreams or wishes, like writing a book, which is also in the pipelines, in the background, slowly but surely. And I was going to do so one day, but not quite yet. And, you know, over the years, working in the spiritual field, growing, expanding intuitively, and understanding more about energy through my spiritual work and experiences as a psychic or intuitive, doing energy work, and also spiritual coaching and broadcasting out there on YouTube and through my articles, experiencing spirituality through my everyday life. And through doing this work, I was able to connect more with my voice and express my higher spiritual side that's being, you know, so there in the background of my life from when I was really young, where I found it difficult to express myself and be true to who I am. In a way, I was always true. It's just that you feel different to others, right? So sometimes you hide versions of yourself, or it struggles to come through in the way that you intend, or in a higher way, because sometimes you feel like others won't understand. But that's something that I developed and grew into very naturally through doing this work, by following my mission, sense of purpose, and what felt right to me. And I've really come into my own in that way, but it's always in perpetual motion, growth, evolution. You're always learning. And so often, funnily enough, as I'm going about my day, I'm talking to you or, my audience, my followers, those who have been with me for over a decade now. And sometimes I just talk to you in my head, like information comes through, insight, guidance, or just like a piece of spiritual knowledge. And sometimes that gets lost, or I write it down on paper or on my computer, and it's hard to capture and turn it into something and go the next step. So podcast is also a way for me to get that information through to you. And it's a very natural process, often because I've had a YouTube channel for over a decade now. And sometimes when I go on walks or I'm out and about, information comes to me, or while I'm driving, and I record those on a voice recorder. And so this is a natural progression for me from that to have a podcast. And the way it happened is almost miraculous in a way, and it shows me now in hindsight that it needed to come through for me to go next level and bring messages through and expand upon them. It literally just evolved like a light bulb out of the blue. I was going through a day of horrible migraines, and then by the evening I started to feel a bit better, and I just got a spark of divine inspiration out of nowhere, which happens on occasion, as you might know if you have that kind of spiritual connection. And I just thought, okay, let's look at how to create a podcast the fast and easy way. And then all of a sudden, within hours, I literally had a podcast. I made the cover for it. I even made the trailer and I had a name for it, and voila, it's like overnight my reality literally changed. I was so excited that I did not sleep for the rest of that night, but that's what happens when you do this kind of inspired work late at night. But I know that it was coming from a higher place, and it felt really true to me. What to expect from this podcast? Well, I'm going to upload episodes just whenever they come through. Perhaps they'll be on a regular basis, or maybe just organic. I'm not going to stress about it. I'm going to keep it very much aligned to what feels right to me. And the episodes will also be uploaded to YouTube, for YouTube now has a new functionality to allow for podcasts through a podcast playlist. So I will be doing that too. You will be able to listen to this podcast on all the various platforms. That is all available to see on the link nataliakuna.com/podcast, where you can see all the platforms that I am on. And the YouTube videos will either be audio only, or they will also be visual as well. I will also most likely have articles with my show notes or expanded transcripts on my website as well. So just always check the description in the show notes of each podcast. Each episode will be of a different length, so there'll be plenty of shorter ones, medium size, and some long ones too, just whatever length it needs to be. And also, I won't be doing energy updates on my podcast. I'm going to keep that for YouTube only. I've been bringing through intuitive messages and guidance for over a decade now, and I keep that on my YouTube channel as well as anyone on my email list. So be sure to go ahead and subscribe to my channel, which is youtube.com/c/Natalia Kuna, and just make sure you're on my general email list. So you can go to spiritualcourseacademy.com/list for that. All links are in the description. What kinds of topics can you expect me to be talking about? Whatever comes through, but all about being an empath and energy sensitive. Feeling like you're an old soul on earth, being spiritual, bringing spirituality into our everyday lives. Spiritual topics which are aplenty, such as angels, soul types, purpose, crystals, consciousness, awakening, ascension, angel numbers and numerology, signs, synchronicity, chakras, sacred space, and finding your center and calm. Spiritual children and parenting and relationships on the spiritual path, as well as all aspects of intuitive development, energy management, change, mindset, transformation, as well as guidance and insight, intuitive messages, inspiration, motivation, encouraging you on your transformation journey, supporting you on the path, giving you practical steps and practices, tools, techniques, and lessons, learnings, teachings, helpful information and resources to help you learn, cope, and grow, deeper world truths and metaphysical topics from time to time, meditations, helpful exercises, and bringing in the energy healing or clearing or transmissions of higher frequency as they come about, connecting you back to soul and helping you rise up to meet your higher self. I'll also be conducting interviews with other spiritual souls out there, whether that be regular people who are exploring their spiritual side on some level, or those working in the spiritual field and following their path in a way that feels right to them. I'm going to be keeping really open to that, so that should be interesting too. And we'll talk very conversational, very natural. We'll talk about all things spiritual, everyday life, all that kind of thing. And the intention there is to share, inform, and inspire. And I'll also share any episodes of others interviewing me also. My intentions for this show and the work that I do. Some of the key themes you might see coming through are normalizing spirituality and bringing it into your everyday life, or at least weekly life if need be, because we're all busy. Keeping spirituality simple and natural. It does not need to be complicated at all. That's where people get lost and confused or get off track. You can go very deep and rise higher above when you're coming from a simple, grounded, clear place, and that's what I'm all about. Helping you connect back to yourself, bridging back soul, and helping you to cope better and also understand and recognize when you are operating from autopilot or out of body or in survival mode, and also helping you recognize that we are here to honor and experience all types of energy, people, situations, thoughts, and emotions on the path. So even though it is my natural sort of ability and inclination to help you rise to higher levels, it's also all about accepting where you are at now in whatever mode or feeling or sort of situation or anything that you're going through at present, and to really be present with that and allow that to process and heal naturally. But also knowing there are things we can do to help along the way. So it's about keeping it all grounded and real, accepting and embracing it all, and moving through things in a way where you're processing things mindfully and consciously rather than unconsciously, and rising above from a place and a space where you are more connected to self on a higher level and more attuned to your evolutionary cycle in this lifetime and beyond. So I'll be bringing in a higher vibration, lifting you up, lighting you up, filling you up with light, hope, and faith, and also encouraging you to remain realistic and grounded and down to earth rather than floating up out of orbit. So all very practical and real. So in this podcast, allow me to hold a space for you energetically and bring you back to soul and to calm amongst this crazy, chaotic, frenzied world out there that we're in. Come follow and support me and listen in. I'd love to have you here as I voice my truth as it comes through naturally. And also come join my Facebook group if you're not in it already, facebook.com/groups/energy sensitives. And you are very welcome to message me there or through my contact link below, and pop me a note. Let me know who you are, and I love to connect with you. And feel free to give feedback and suggestions for this show. I look forward to connecting with you further and seeing you in the next episode.